looky what we have here. All right, everybody. So finding out that some performance Model 3s are leaking in the rear, new rear motor design. And it looks like it's leaking from the half shaft seals. In some places it looks like grease. In other places it looks like oil. I don't know. Maybe this is a thick grease that when it heats up, it, you know, turns into more of an oil type of mixture. But I don't know. I can't say for sure. I don't know that I don't know. I'm not some oil engineer, but usually when it's grease, it stays grease. And when it's oil, it stays oil. Gets a little bit thinner, but I've never seen like grease turn oil. Now, I am suspecting, I heard them call the oil in the rear motor some kind of new superfluid.
All new drive unit here for the Model 3 Performance. We also have a new inverter here, and we have precision ground gears to increase efficiency, as well as a lower friction oil in there that we call KAF, kick-ass fluid, in order to get all of the performance out of all of this together.
If that is the case with this car, maybe that's the issue. Maybe the superfluid is so super, it's getting in between the seals and leaking out. All right. Because my theory is they would be using the same seals on all of these rear motors, even the front motors. I mean, you know, they all these cars have like the same shafts coming out of them. At bare minimum, the Model 3s would. Why would they change that? Why would they change the half shafts in such a way that it would require different seals? That just wouldn't make sense. So it seems to me they would be using the same seals on pretty much most of their models. And I don't think this is a widespread problem. But again, I don't know. I haven't heard before of just normal Tesla Model 3 long ranges or even the Model Ys leaking any kind of oil, grease from the rear motors or even the front motors. So I got a feeling maybe the oil, superfluid. I don't know. Again, I'm just totally guessing here. From what I understand, reading some other posts on X, that there's a number of maybe 5 to 10 people complaining about this right now. I don't know. I have no real count on this, but it seems really strange that my car has, I maybe have 1,200 miles on it. These other cars I know, I think maybe a couple thousand miles, few thousand miles, 500 miles, and they're seeing some leakage like this too. So it's a thing. You know, this is definitely a thing. I've also been reading other posts, people saying things like, oh, I didn't know you had to change oil in Teslas. You said there's no maintenance. Well, you kind of don't. There's no oil in it, like standard motor oil in a Tesla. The motor's electric, but you still have a gearbox, okay? So think of it like a differential in a car. And anytime you have gears, they have to be lubricated, so there is fluid in there. Now, the thing with the Tesla, and I looked up, Tesla Model 3, maintenance intervals, right? Doesn't list anything about changing that fluid. So what is the interval on changing that fluid? No idea. Now, you look up differentials for cars, and you know, people will. It's a little bit like all over the place. I've always remembered from cars I've had with rear end differentials, it was like 100,000 mile change intervals or something like that, and that was years ago. Who knows with the synthetic fluids they have now what that would be? But then I read other things where, especially if you're towing, using your car or truck to tow things, they talk about change intervals of 30,000 miles, 60,000 miles. So I don't really know, okay? It's hard to say, but what I know is what I read in the Tesla manual, the actual maintenance manual that Tesla publishes, and there's nothing on it. There's nothing at all. Now, will that change? Yeah, probably, because this stuff is so new, I think, as the cars age and as they see them coming in, for maintenance or for issues, they're probably going to start saying things like, hey, well, we're seeing some issues with this fluid at whatever, 50,000, 150,000 miles, whatever. So, but for now, there's no interval on changing that fluid. That's just information for you. Also, though, there is like what looks to be a standard type of oil filter in there too. So I'm assuming that fluid gets filtered in there, so which is a little bit different than a differential. And the gearbox in there is bigger than a differential, but it's the same principle. All right, under here. Yeah, check this out. Rear motor. And We'll get in closer in a minute, but this is the panel that I pulled off. There's all kinds of 10mm bolts that have to come off to get this thing, and a couple of pins on the side, push pins on the side to get it to come down. But yeah, this is not great. It's not the worst thing. It's not like leaking all over the place. I don't have any visible like leaks here where you can see it running down the panels. And you saw the underside of that panel there. It's not that heavy yet. So let's get in here a little closer. Okay, so this is passenger side, and here we've got, I'm pretty sure this is a coolant line. That connector there, and boy, I am squished under this car, so I barely have use of two hands, but this looks like the grease that was on the bottom of that pan. So I'm not sure where that's really coming from, though. Okay, I think that's about the best shot I can give here, but you can see where like that line of oil is kind of running down off of it. Now that could either be that grease or a different type of oil, but the fact that it's so thick here, you know, I don't know, maybe it's meant to be that thick, and then when it gets up to temperature, it liquefies more and then starts leaking out. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of where it's coming from. So again, this is the passenger side. There's a different view. Looks a little bit wetter than it should be. Let me get over to the other side, driver's side. All right, driver's side, much easier to see. Take a look at that. That is not good. It's not horrible, but because I don't see it actually like dripping down. Maybe a little bit, yeah, right here. See, that looks a little bit wet. Yeah, and my car's got, oh wait, look at this. Kinda gonna dry my fingers off here. I'm running out of fingers. Yeah, it's a little wet there too. So, yeah, we've definitely got some leakage going on. Yeah, a little wet. All along here, it's probably running down. Yeah, it is. It's just running down from here, so I doubt that this is leaking at all. Could be wrong, but yeah, a little wet there too. But you know, this oil, grease, whatever this is, coming out of here, fluid, super fluid. It's going to find the lowest point and just keep kind of traveling around. And I don't think there's anything really above there where it could be leaking from. I mean, it's got to be here. This is a seal. Crap. And yeah, this boot doesn't look to be leaking either. I mean, this is a, you know, basic CV joint, like every, you know, pretty much every car has these days. And yeah, that boot's totally fine. But that seal there is not good, which, you know, I find it hard to believe that they would be using a different seal for this car than, for this model than they have any other ones. I mean, it just kind of wouldn't make sense. Yeah, this is a different motor than they've used before, but you know, that doesn't mean they wouldn't use the same seal. I got a feeling the CV joint and everything here is the same. So why would this one be leaking and the others wouldn't? The only thing that I could think of is, again, I can't remember. They called this like some kind of super fluid thing. Maybe that fluid is so super that it's getting between the seals here. You know, they made it sound like that fluid was something new. If that's the case, then that would be probably the only difference between any of the previous motors and this one. I don't know if they were using that fluid, that same fluid in the plaid motors or not, but that's the only thing I could think of. And I don't know, maybe the plaids are leaking too. I don't know. I've only heard of it for the Performance Model 3 so far. Oh, I didn't even see this. Yeah, so here you can see again, this fluid is gonna, you know, here though, this is thicker. You can feel that this feels to me thicker than, maybe not, but it could be the same. I mean, it's probably the same, but yeah, it's definitely, I don't know if this is going to get any better. That's for sure. So yeah, time to call service. Oh yeah, looks like I could get electrocuted. Good thing I read that now.